It's called The Birds and Bots. I'm skipping out on this thing where I used to explain what it is because
Okay.
I'm just gonna go right into it.
Yeah,
It's live.
It's all good.
But so we're talking about there's this discussion that's coming about that as you're noticing in your own country.
Yeah.
Here, at least we have this conversation being built, and even I think about it. Like I'm not as progressive as I wish I was, but like even I'm thinking about more recycling. I hassle my roommates for like, yo man, turn off the water, turn off your lights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's cool. And then what got you into like so you're doing environmental and geography, like two majors?
No, it's just that's what the program's called.
Okay.
It's just geography and environmental studies.
Yeah.
So just a lot of courses kind of related to. I don't know. I haven't done actually too many courses on environmental studies. I've done like a couple climatology and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just more of the program name, I guess. Yeah.
Have you always been drawn to like those kind of like this environmental, or you think you've been really shaped by the culture that we're in?
I originally probably was, and probably a big thing for me was, I guess, one of my best friends is two of my really good friends. They did the adventure tourism program, and I've been really good friends since high school, and they are like really into like skiing, hiking, like mountain climbing, and all these like really outdoor activities. And then they would take me out like on like 2-day hikes and like stuff like that, and like we'd always spend like time outdoors and go on road trips and stuff. And then just over the time, I kind of really developed a kind of care and really enjoy the outdoors as well. Like I don't go out as much on my own as I should, but like with my friends, I really enjoy doing that, and that kind of drawn me towards geography to an extent. And I also really like the interdisciplinary nature of it. So it's not necessarily just looking at like the earth or rocks or like landforms, but you also talk a lot about kind of like more social science aspects, like really like urban studies, where you look at like the demographics in cities and changing structures and how like space and place kind of create human beings, right, and borders and stuff like that. And I don't know, I've always kind of just been interested in stuff like that, but traditionally I've always liked more like English and history and like philosophy.
Well, the social sciences, which geography kind of is. I mean, it's a hard science too. Or geology is the hard science.
Yeah.
Geography is the social science of geology, right?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. Like there is a physical science side to geography as well, right? Like we do like hydrology courses, geomorphology.
Statistics are involved in it. I know that.
Like in urban studies, they do a lot of statistical studies. So it's just
even
like
in land mapping, isn't there statistics to understand like weather pattern? You need to understand probability of like 100-year floods and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then there's even like GIS, computer mapping. So you kind of like you really dip your feet into like a lot of kind of different fields, I guess. And I guess I was kind of an indecisive person a bit, so it's kind of worked out. Like,
it's a perfect.
Because I get to kind of do a lot of stuff, and I kind of really enjoy like certain aspects of it. Don't enjoy other certain aspects, but it's still like a kind of all-encompassing discipline that really, makes you appreciate a lot of things. So.
Do you know Nicholas Warner?
I do, Nick. Yeah, I'm friends with Nick.
Yeah, I had him on the podcast, or not the podcast. I had him on the Humans of Tier, and that's what he said he loved about geography too. Like you can do urban, philosophical geography, like economic geography. You can look at it like anthropology geography and stuff. And like if he wants to jump out, he gets bored in 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I really like about it. So I guess me and Nick are kind of similar like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then you also you're adding a philosophy degree. So have you found like connection through that and like how they blend or just?
Oh yeah, totally. Like, well, I feel like philosophy is kind of the one. I don't know. A lot of people always ask like, oh, it's kind of like useless. It's just like it's just like ideas or like the meaning of life and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like in things like logic and like ethics, like it can really give you like a moral compass or like a guideline for how you ought to behave, right? And it makes you think about like, I guess how you kind of reach to certain conclusions, how your actions affect things, and it makes you more of like more of an empathetic and introspective person, and then you can kind of really apply that to pretty much any discipline, any field you do, right? It kind of makes you critically think deeper about why you have these certain ideas, and then on other sides, when you look at like actual other philosophers and like the history of it, and seeing how people develop ideas, and whether like knowledge comes from like your sensory perceptions or it actually comes from innately from your mind, and I don't know, I've always kind
divinity.
of I don't know, maybe it's because I did like too much like LSD or mushrooms when I was younger or something, but like I don't know, I've always kind of just been interested in stuff like that. And then my mom always encouraged me to like read a lot of books and would always bring me books, and then kind of drew out from English into like certain aspects of philosophy. And then my high school teacher, Mr. Wilson, we read a book called The Stranger or The Outsider by Albert Camus, and it's just like a short book.
I know Albert Camus. Okay.
Yeah, but that book is kind of what really sparked me to get more into philosophy, because it kind of just talked about like kind of like someone kind of doing an action for the sake of doing it, and I don't know, just kind of brought all these questions and ideas to me that like.
Is that some of his more existential stuff, or is that more of his absurd stuff?
It's related to more than certain. It's just like his one of the novels he wrote. So it wasn't actually like a philosophical essay or anything like that, but it had a lot. It had this like absurdism and its ideas behind that. Like it's just like about a guy that essentially has like his mom dies and he doesn't really feel anything, and then the main crux of the plot is that he's on the beach and then he sees an Arab, right? And I think it's been a while since I read it, but I think the Arab had a knife or something, and then he didn't have to shoot the Arab, but he decides to shoot him just to see what essentially the feeling would be like, and then he goes to jail and like all this trials and stuff, and he just doesn't really care. Yeah, but he doesn't like really care, right? And like he's not like, it kind of just brings the idea of, I guess, like, is he a bad person? Is he not? Can people intrinsically not have kind of like a nihilistic value towards anything, right?
Sure.
So I guess like these ideas of like apathy, like when you're a teenager, kind of like it's very relatable, right? Because you're going through like that angsty stage in your life where like.
I even think it's one of the biggest issues we have. I mean, nihilism is obviously a big issue that we have today.
Yeah,
I think apathy is worse than nihilism, because at least you can be productive on nihilism, because you might do something that might help someone else. But if you're apathetic, you're not even going to want to do anything, because you're just so apathetic. I have a couple of friends that just slid down to like working at shitty jobs and they just don't care. They don't want to improve, and I'm like, oh, well, how do you find there's a problem with people with apathetic? How do you help them in a way, right?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of philosophy can really help people.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might not necessarily be interested in it, right? But
there's practical ways to insert philosophy into life without having to be all the fluff, which is some people enjoy. I'm a fluff fan of philosophy too.
Yeah.
But like even the idea that sustainability is philosophy. It's understanding why things can be reused and how they can be created for reduce, recycle, reduce, right?
Yeah, there's so many different disciplines of philosophy as well.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's just like, I really enjoy it. So sometimes it's really hard when you read some of the more convoluted, more philosophers where the language and diction is it's a bit hard to understand, right? But it's like a challenge. Right? You read it over and over again. And the professors at TRU, I personally think are really, really good at making these ideas important and helping explain them to you if you don't understand them, right? Because it's not always clear-cut ways to kind of.
I'm sure if you got into a good conversation either with what is it, Bruce Baugh?
Yeah, Bruce
Baugh or Tim.
Yeah.
I know Bruce studies Camus. That's one of his main specialties.
Yeah. I think
Tim,
he's like a continental philosopher, so he studies a lot of European.
Yeah. And then I forget what Tim is, but I mean, you ask them. They spend an entire life on like a sphere of philosophy, and they're still probably getting ratted out by other philosophers, let alone when we're trying to understand. Like, you can spend your entire life on just continentals, right?
There's
digs and digs.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I really like it though. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think TRU is like it's like a smaller school, but I still think like we have a lot of really great professors and a lot
I love TRU.
Yeah.
It's ranked. It's 58th out of 97 schools in Canada. But it's ranked 2000 something. This was last year's chart, so it might have changed.
Yeah.
But it's 2017 out of 35,000 schools in the world. So it's in the top 10% of schools in the world.
Yeah.
Which like, that's a pretty, like, you live in Canada and you kind of get like, oh, it's TRU. It is kind of TRU too.
Yeah, true.
Like, you're not gonna get that top law firm or whatever kind of job.
I don't get the prestige or status.
But you are getting prestige in a lot of other ways, and it's an international school where like 25%, and like you're a permanent resident, but I mean, you're adding to the school is probably, as in my mind, you're an international student who is a permanent resident.
Yeah.
They probably don't count you as one, right?
Yeah,
so
no,
there's a lot of people like that. That's Canada in its own sense. It's the multicultural thing that like a lot of people here. Like I'm Jewish in my background. That's why I went to Israel and all that propaganda crap. But even I've been influenced by my culture of Israel and like stuff like that. So, but I'm spreading this multiculturalism.
Yeah, it's the beauty of it, right? Like, I don't know. I'd probably say I'm like 75% Canadian, 25% Korean, or something like that. But it's cool to be able to. Like, most of my friends are Canadian people or more westernized, but it's cool to
like European descent.
Yeah, it's cool to show them in like aspects of the culture. And, they're always interested in certain stuff, so it's cool to like bring that diversity, I guess, to other people and to make it a more understanding place, right?
Yeah. No, I'm loving it, and it's like I'm not sure if you get these sometimes too, and like the fight of the internal. I'm not sure if it's a like thing or whatever. I have my own internal racism 2 times, and I have to fight that constantly. And I'm like, it's amazing that by being here, the more cultures I amass in my friendship groups, it helps me like. I also, like, so I'll break it down. So I have depression, and my ability to be mindfulness of my depression makes me stop that. And when I have friends from cultures, if I get a cultural racist thought, by having that friend, it helps me stop those thoughts. It's a weird flowing thought thing. And it's by having this diversity can help people grow.
Yeah, I think there's like a study done where it's like the more you're surrounded or the more you see kind of other people of different cultures and different like ethnic or racial backgrounds, like the more you grow accustomed and less afraid of stuff like that. So I think the more exposure you kind of have is like a big thing. Because everyone kind of to an extent like has subconscious bias or like like any kind of
fear of the unknown.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's impossible to not have something like that, but it's important to like understand why you'd have that and like check yourself on like why you have these thoughts, right? Because you don't want. I don't know. It's like I guess kind of like a weird way to always go through life towards having like a particular mindset or bias towards a certain group of people or anything like that, right?
It's just stupid. It's
yeah.
stupid. You know, we all like sure there's going to be weird people which are also beneficial, like Albert Einstein to even Elon Musk are like almost as a weird human.
Yeah.
So I can't put them in the basket. But really, most of us want to have a kid. You know, they want to have our wife. We want to have a decent job. We want to fulfill our hobbies. And at the end of the day, you need to be from like Southern Africa to China to like Ecuador, any of that. You know, we all kind of want that. Maybe our hobbies and wants are differently, but that's kind of in all of us. Besides those little weird people.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of. I don't know. I think Canada's getting a lot better in a lot of ways. You know, there's a bit of a. I don't know. It kind of seems like there are some people that are really against, I guess, like the diversity aspect of Canada as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes see, but I think overall, I think we're getting.
I agree with this, like a slow opening, constantly open valve to increase multiculturalism. Mm-hmm. So this is why I think what's his name, Bernier is on the extreme of the issue that yes, multiculturalism can be dangerous if you just flood in. If you triple the population of Canada from 30 to 120 in 2 years by just, what is it? There's 200 million migrants right now. No. What are the ones called where you actually want to move to another country? Is that migrant? You know?
Where you want to move?
But you
immigrant or like?
Yeah, well, like an immigrant is like when you have a state, but then if you're a migrant, I think it's when you're like there are people who are migrating out of their country, but they don't have the immigration status.
Oh, like refugee?
Or emigration. Well, refugees trying to get away from the country to go back.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of names. Anyways, so like there's about 200 million people around the world. In last the World Economic Forum that says they want to leave and they want to settle down in a country. Right? 200 million people constantly leave. They're not in their original country anymore, and they're in other countries trying to settle somewhere.
Yeah.
If we opened our gates to all 200 million, and the Canadian population went from 30 to 230, and it would be a mix because there's Asians, there's Oceanic, there's African. If you throw that into Canada, that kind of multicultural would probably collapse the society.
Yeah.
So there is it's a push, but that's why Bernier is kind of too fearful, thinking like 500,000 people are gonna fuck our country.
Yeah. I think like a big thing about that is like things is a simulation, right? Like I know. I think like a big thing is coming into the country and then at least like trying to learn the language and then trying to learn the customs and cultures of it, but also still retaining your home culture or like stuff like that. Like I guess like in Vancouver, it's like there's all these like kind of like I don't necessarily think ethnic enclaves are really good where certain groups of people are there, but like it's cool to see that you can go there and like you can try so many different cultures of foods and have this authenticity of like a different country, and like I think being able to do that in these big cities is like a really beautiful thing. But it's like the middle ground, right? It's like these people also need to understand the Canadian culture, right, and not just look at it the same way as a country they're coming from, right? It's like the fine balance, right? And I think there's a lot of people that do that, like
it's good for coming for opportunity, and like that's why we should be setting laws. We do have laws that you have to learn French or English, obviously, right? And like if you want to speak your own language, and if you even want to set up enclaves, I'm fine, as long as they can as long as it's like, it's not like building walls in enclaves. If you want to, I had that really cool statement by someone that one of Canada's beauty, unlike America's melting pot, we're a stained glass, right? We have a lot of different like aspects, but we're all part of this one thing. But by having enclaves that you can melt into almost, like you can go through the Chinatown, or you can go through the commercial drive with its main Italian and Greek families and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where like, it's not like barring you off. It's more like creating its own cultural hub to keep their identity, but it's also allowing you in as well.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
flow through. So
Totally. Yeah. It's like the fine balance between, right?
Yeah, and it's. How long would you normally like? I do about 30 minutes. We're about 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
You down for that?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet. Well, thanks anyways. By the way, Sean, for like coming on here as well.
No worries. All good.
Yeah.
Enjoying it.
Why did you take TRU then? Like, I guess you said you had family here in town, right?
Yeah, a big thing honestly for me was I was a really bad student in high school generally.
Me too, man.
Like I did decent, but I just skipped school a lot. I was at a weird point in my life and just never really
Hormones
cared.
and life.
Yeah, teenage
and moving
angst,
around.
right? Yeah.
Did you finish school here? Or you came back at 16, right?
Yeah, I finished my high school education here. So like a big thing was that I shouldn't stayed an extra year in high school because the year I did in Korea, none of the credits transferred over essentially to the Canadian education system. So I essentially failed a year of school because none of the credits transferred. But I really want to graduate on time with like my friends in the same grad class. But in hindsight, it was a really dumb move because I should have just spent the extra year in like doing a variety of courses and stuff like that. So I didn't have to do upgrading or anything like that. And then just monetary costs because I like lived here and I supported myself since I was like 19. Yeah, unfortunately not a very rich international student. So so I supported myself.
Good style at least, right? That's how you popped in my eyes. So.
Yeah, so I supported myself a lot, like at a younger age. So I didn't have a lot of the monetary funds to move to like a different school or a bigger city, or I didn't have like the necessary kind of social safety net, I guess, or family safety net to like do a big change like that.
Force yourself or fall away.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of already lived in Kamloops. I had everything kind of set up, and then originally I kind of thought like, you know what, I'll do like a year or two, and then like just a variety of different courses and see how I really like it, and then if I really want to, and I get good grades, I can transfer over, and then my grades are good enough to transfer and everything to like I was thinking like UVic or even like SFU or anything like that, but I just kind of decided I got like a good job here, doing like serving and bartending at a safer school. The hours were really well, and I have like a great friend group here, and I don't know, I just got along with a lot of my professors and anything, and kind of decided that I'd rather stay here and finish my first 4 years, and then move, and then I'm okay to move away after that.
Yeah. You know, you build that relationship with your professors. I mean, I even left TRU in my second year to Concordia out in Montreal, and then they kind of messed me over by saying they had my first year transferred, and then I was like going to class for about 2 weeks, and they're like, yeah, you don't want to redo your first year? And I'm like,
oh no.
I also did like 4 classes a semester, so that means that would be like 6 more years. I mean, I'm doing 6 years anyways, but I'm like, no, I'm out of here, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it doesn't really work out.
But it's also like in that big school, there's like 50,000 students go to Concordia, and then like not even like, okay, so I'll throw TRU under the bus again. There's not 14,000 people that go here. There's 4,000 plus about 10,000 online students.
Yeah.
But 4,000, they count the same students twice. So if you're 4,000 in fall and you're 4,000 in October, like the same students, maybe a little. They count those numbers together.
Oh,
so
really?
They gotta pump those numbers up, and you get like money per student.
Yeah, well, TRU is like a big international school, right? So it's like they make a lot of their money and like funding off that, right?
Oh yeah, I think the 25% pays almost like 50% of the fees here. They pay 3 times as much as us. Which I get because I'm okay with, I guess. I don't know.
If I was an international student, I definitely would be okay. But I mean, most internationals that come here come from like middle class or higher families, right? So.
I mean, maybe if we subsidize more, and like, obviously students are so biased to wanting to subsidize this university more because you're in school. Of course you want to be subsidized now. And then why do you think adults who've already graduated university aren't promoting subsidization?
Exactly.
Because there's already high tax rates, and that's why everyone's complaining about high tax. So of course we want it now.
Yeah, everyone's vetted in your own interest, right? Like, when it's going to benefit the most, you're going to vote for it, right?
Yeah. So you're working for TRU here, you said, or?
Sorry?
You said you're working for TRU here, or?
No, I just I work at it's kind of like a more upscale dining place. It's like Atlas Steak and Fish in the casino. It's like a steakhouse.
Across the way then?
Oh no, up at the casino by Costco.
Oh, that casino.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I do. I usually like bartend 1 day or 2 days a week on the weekdays, and then I do serving on the weekends. And yeah, it's just like good money. The hours work really well. We only are open from 4:30 till like 11.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
so you get home by 12ish if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. So finish my classes and go work, and yeah, it's good money. I like who I work with, and yeah, so it kind of works out like that.
So you're also saying that you made a pretty sweet friend group here, and then from adventure tourism students. Do you go hiking and stuff like that as much? I guess you already said that too. You said you get out in nature.
Yeah, not really to adventure tourism students. Just like my particular good friends were two of them. One of them's already graduated, and the other's still in there in the program, I believe. So yeah, we just always kind of did that, and like even like our other friends kind of just. I have like a varying different friend groups. So like one of the ones is like my really good high school friends. We all kind of live in different cities now. So like 3 of us are in Kamloops, I think, and then one's in Victoria, one's in Calgary, one's in Nova Scotia right now. And then we always kind of just did outdoor activities together. Like we all like skateboarded and yeah, exactly. Always hiked. So we'd always like just like go around and do like camping or hiking and stuff like that. So
any river rafting or stuff like that? Or?
No, I've never done like that. I like riding like canoes and like kayaks on lakes or anything like that, stuff like that, but never like whitewater rafting or anything too extreme like that. I'm a pretty bad swimmer as well. So yeah, I don't want to risk myself. Like that.
No, I haven't done it either. I was just kind of like, I had a roommate named Nathan, and that guy was wild. Like, just like, man, I love it. Get that adrenaline rush, and like show photos of like that water, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I would try it, but it seems kind of. My friend was showing me. It's like if you like flip upside down, like what you have to do to like.
Well, it's like a lot of like.
Yeah, and I was like, dude. If that happened to me, I'd probably die. Like,
whatever. I'll take this the way it is.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, it's not looking too good.
So you're coming up on your 3rd year, and you said 2 years left?
I think I'm halfway done my 3rd year right now. So I should probably double check that. But
and you did the year general studies in a way, and now you're doing the major and the minor. You've done in 2 years then?
Probably a year and a half too. I usually take 4.
Cool.
Sometimes 5, but I took 3 this semester because I kind of wanted to just. Kind of more of the relaxing semester, and I usually try to do like one course in the summer as well, or something like that. Because it's pretty easy to get a good grade if you're doing just one class in the summer.
I'm sure. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Do you have any? Sorry, you were gonna finish?
Oh, just like it's probably like another year and a half around there. Yeah.
Exciting, and also fearsome, right? Like I've been having my own I got a year left too, and I'm kind of like, what am I gonna do with my life?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do go in the co-op program next year, I think, and
smart.
try something out, see what I really like, and then kind of go from there, right?
Have you thought? So I guess I don't know many jobs to do with that. Like, would you want to do? Do you like more currently? Do you like more the urban or the? What's the opposite of urban? Rural.
Rural, yeah.
Is it rural? Yeah.
From what I've seen, most jobs kind of seem to be. We can go into like a physical geography. Not like a major, but it's like where you focus on, or you can do a general geography and there's like honors as well. So generally with like the physical, that's where most of the jobs I would say are kind of located. So just any like outdoor field tech job, or like I think just certain companies like BC Hydro or something like that hire you to do like water discharge measurements.
It's almost like civil engineering, but not doing the engineering, but rather maintaining the geography around it.
Yeah, so a lot of outdoor jobs, like sometimes sound really cool. Like one of my professors mentioned like just driving around ATVs and like rural parts and just like taking some measurements and doing some measurement stuff with some equipment, and then you just kind of enjoy the outdoors, we camp out, and a lot of jobs kind of seem to be entailed in like kind of that area. Certain areas like forestry, I think you can certainly get jobs as well. So
like fire watch and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a lot of the physical geography jobs kind of seem to be branching into like other territories as well, like forestry and RS, and kind of they're kind of related, I guess, and stuff like that. And I don't think there's much job availability for like more of the social sciences stuff. I think with just an undergrad. But personally, I think the stuff I like the most is like I'm really into like urban studies, like demographic changes, and like analyzing how like city structures change, and why so many people are attracted to larger cities in Canada, and why smaller rural cities are dying, and like incentives for smaller cities and planning options to get a younger generation in and get more jobs and kind of like
Do you think we need to though keep younger jobs? I mean, it's like more. What do we use the rural for? I mean, we have mining, we have agriculture, but both of those things are being automated. Do we really care for big populations in our rural population?
Well, it's just I guess more fact that these small cities are seeing a lot of out migration towards the younger population towards like I can't remember the exact statistics, but I think like almost like 60-70% of the growth is just like all in either Vancouver, Montreal, or Toronto, right? And a lot of younger kids are doing just like exoduses towards these bigger cities, and there's a multiplicity of reasons why they do that. Like they want a different pace of life, more of the city life, and then maybe more entry-level job opportunities there. So stuff like that and like the available amenities. These are all really big things for that, but that kind of leads to a lot of the smaller cities for the younger population to start dying off, and then the city continually gets aging. And
wouldn't the city then also, so the city would shrink, but that means house prices would plummet, which means when people want to move back out, houses would start going down. I mean, the need of rural populations, besides living there, is slowly shrinking as the jobs that are necessary for those jobs are just kind of, I wouldn't say worthless, but rather we're finding ways to automate. So that's, we're not looking for small towns for rare resources because we can find ways to deal with that.
Yeah, like even Kamloops is like a good example. Like, we're traditionally like a primary sector kind of town where we did a lot of.
The mining industry here has shrunk by like 50% over the last 2 decades.
But here, like cities are really part of stuff like that where these kind of jobs in the quaternary sector, and they bring like a lot more high-tech jobs or more, I guess, service-oriented jobs that are, I guess, really important for the future of the city. And a lot of other smaller cities are kind of trying to advocate for that. We're like more of a tourist town kind of thing. Like, and I did a study on Nelson this year, and Nelson's one of like the really big cities are doing really well as a small city, right? Just because they are traditionally like a mining forestry town, but they're able to transition into like more of a tourist town that's really, really focused on like quality of life, amenities, like recreation, outdoor
like
activity.
Culture of hippers. I'm from Nelson actually. And like,
oh really?
I was raised until like I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
But I have a cabin out there. I go out there.
Yeah.
It's a different culture too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Very left-leaning, liberal, hippie kind of. It's kind of like the stereotype.
Hippies, and all like war dodgers. And it's a really cool.
Yeah. Exactly. But they're doing really good because they have so many.
It's hard to move there too, though, right?
It's
like
really
the population has stayed 11,000, maybe 12,000 for like the last 2 decades. Like their demographics, I assume. So there's a lot of what is it called? AGL land, agricultural reserve land and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like they also just don't want people coming. They don't want to ruin their. Well, they have a very sustainable ecosystem.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like their planning policies. Like I looked at their community, like future official community plan policies, and a lot of it's really, really tied to a lot of like carbon emission, like environmental, and like there's a lot of care of like sustainable housing and stuff like that. But like one of the indicators there is like rent and housing prices are incredibly high there compared to like the Canadian average and other cities in size. But stuff like that kind of indicative of that the quality of life is really high. Like a lot of people want to move there, and a lot of people like really enjoy living there. So that's why. And there's other reasons like a lack of actual available housing, stuff like that. So a lot of big things like that are like really important for showing like how well the city's kind of doing. So like that's kind of one of the examples of a small city that seems to be kind of adapting. And then as we become more developed and like you don't really necessarily need. You still need face-to-face communication, but a lot of people can do jobs and works with it, high-speed internet access and stuff like that. So a lot of jobs that
depend. 5G coming out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't necessarily need to be in Vancouver or anything like that. But as long as you're like maybe a couple hours away from there, right? You can go on the weekends or something if you need to actually
go. Fly out.
Yeah, if you need to go there and see like the main building or the main office and talk to people, you can do that. And you do most of your work in rural towns, and then you can enjoy the recreation of like a smaller city if you're like really into hiking or something.
Yeah.
Or if you're into skiing, or like you can kind of access these things that make you happy in your own life, and then still have a
boost your productivity. On the globalist needs.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's really interesting to see like the future of that. So that's something I really enjoy. So I don't really know, I guess, exactly what I want to do. Like, I may want to do like my master's or something like that.
You'll fall into it too, right?
Maybe trying to do a couple jobs on like the physical geography side as well. Because I really do enjoy being outdoors and stuff. So
our life is kind of a journey, you know. I ended with this as well. Like my parents are like like 70 and 71. But like the benefit of having that old parents, like, and they fall in, like my dad did poli-science and something else, and then my mom did like something completely different in her own career path, and like jumped around different careers, and that's life, man. Like, who cares where you just keep after it, right? And you'll fall into it, and you kind of seem like you kind of have some internal passions, and we're gonna kind of keep going on that. I finished my segment with, so you're new to the podcast, obviously. So on a student-driven podcast, last people I meet, what kind of things would you like to hear from something like this, and just kind of the way it's going, or anything you could see that could be improved through this kind of show?
Oh, for the podcast? I guess just like, I've never actually heard of it or anything like that. So
no, it's very, I got like 11 subscribers.
Oh, so fair enough.
It's more, I'm just building it.
Yeah, it's growing, right? I guess just getting we're very diverse as school, so I think just getting a wide range of people, like people that grew up in Kamloops as well, and then other international students. I think that's like a really important thing when you get like a really all-encompassing view of how people view Kamloops, how they view TRU and life and different cultures, and then I think get a really good, stronger understanding of how different cultures work and how this community kind of builds off, or the school more in particular kind of builds off this multiculturalistic aspect, right?
Yeah. And as we said earlier, by dosing people with a little bit of something new, you help them grow into it.
Sweet. You get more accustomed, right?
Thanks so much, Sean. And